It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve. Thank you for allowing us to do so. Let's just say a quick prayer for all those still lost out there to illusion, delusion, confusion, lost in the seas of time, trapped somewhere in the matrix, yet to heal, yet to awaken, yet to return to the resplendent grace of the divine, unconditional love of universal oneness and unapologetic great spirit. We love you. We're sorry, we honor you, we praise you. Please forgive us. Thank you. We ask that our steps be ordered, our path be illuminated, and that we find salvation and redemption in this lifetime. May we be happy, may we be whole, may we be at peace, may we receive everything we ever want, starting what we deserve. The Vertex of Abundance is the Galactic Temple of Ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. Today we'll be using This Might Hurt Tarot to impose the guidance, and that's by Isabella Rotman over at Liminal 11 Publishing. We lay 4 cards. Those are the core, essential, crystalline, energy. All additional cards that come out are to clarify or modify the meaning of these 4 cards. There will be a few decks here. Mainly the Cosmic Coven Tarot by Lisa Lazenby over at Ripe Avocado. To clarify, if we use more, which we might, we'll talk about those cards at that time. The 4 cards, the central energy here is the World, High Priestess, Lovers, and Justice card. Again, I repeat, for Scorpio rising during the Virgo season. If you do not know your rising, start with your North Node. It will be the World card, the High Priestess, the Lovers, the Justice. Again, I repeat, the World card, the High Priestess, the Lovers, the Justice. The central energy for this reading is the World card, the High Priestess, the Lovers, and the Justice card. For Scorpio rising, during the last part of August and the first half or so of September, the sun will be moving through the 11th house. So there's going to be growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, healing, illumination, enlightenment, enumeration around larger groups. Now, the 11th house is the house of choice. It's all the things of the 3rd house. Network, community, family. But instead of it being the one that we're born into, the one that we're given, it's the one that we choose for ourselves. A few extra things about the 11th house. It's also our good karma, all the karma that we collect in this life. We call it dharma. Also, if we have benefactors, people from a distance that are supporting us, that are helping us, whether they are the fan base or the people on a larger scale that know our name. It also takes the smaller communities and it makes it worldwide or universal, across the cosmos, across the timeline, across all of our eternal lifetimes, okay? Now, I'm saying that because we do have the Lovers card, which is very much that 3rd house smaller energy, but it makes it bigger, larger. We also have 2 air energies here. Okay, so again, this is the 11th house for the Scorpio rising. It's our benefactors. It's the exaltation of certain things, basically positive things, yields, rewards, recognition. It's the reward house, okay? It's also our heaven door. It's where we step up in ascension or divinity steps down into our life when we get ridden or mounted, or when we take on the mantle of higher energies, whether it's higher states of existence, higher beings. Even if we take an exalted status, like we're at the helm of a ship or whatever, what have you, that's the 11th house as well. And it's our entire network. Network. So even if we're in a smaller community, like a department at work, still if we have a name that expands to the entire organization, that would be the 11th house. It doesn't matter if we're on a sports team, maybe we're in a local city league, for our little town that we live in, but the group that we belong to might be, across the world. That's the 11th house as well, that cumulative total aspect. For instance, I'm in a running group, a local chapter. I'm in a fraternity, a local chapter, but we're worldwide. Does that make sense? Sometimes, you work somewhere at a business, perhaps a bank or, you know, that has a branch or whatever, but it's also global. Okay, so that's the 11th house. It brings in cosmic and galactic citizenry. And I'm using some personal examples just to dramatize the idea and get into the reading because I'm still doing, we're still doing, even though we're catching up here last month because we're already moving into the new energy. I'm already started getting messages for Libra season, even though we're finishing up Virgo season for another couple days. These messages are still coming in, so we're still mid Virgo cycle. I feel like Virgo and Libra are the earth angel energy, they are, but they also get a lot of information about discernment because that's a sign, even if they're not keeping receipts, they find the receipts eventually. Virgo and Libra, even if we don't have that personal energy during that season, even the energy comes to us. Okay, so the why of the why. I don't believe in looking for that. I believe in going off our purpose and our calling. But that is the sign that kind of hinges on the reason, the why, the discernment, the judgment behind something. So there's going to be some revelations, I feel, and some culminations, some completions, some alignments as well. So let's get in here. We have the four cards, the World card, the High Priestess, the Lovers, the Justice. The World card is about completions, but it's more from a sense of achievement. Okay. It is that full circle. It is that level up, that ascension. It's also the locking in. So even if we've been kind of hovering around something or not cashing in the chips, not calling in the favor, that's when we sink it in and move on to the next stage. Because the High Priestess is about gracious, exalted influence over an entire cycle. Yeah, it does mean the intuition and all of that stuff. Okay, like the World card could also mean Saturn, Saturno. We have the moon here, usually the new moon, but the moon in general, with the High Priestess. There could also be some Sagittarius rising or some strong Scorpio energy, oftentimes the moon in Scorpio in the 12th house here with the High Priestess. Then we have Lover's card. It does represent Gemini, but this means grace is exalted environments, surrounding locations, or people, places, and things. So there can be our spirit team as well, okay? Especially with this High Priestess here. So that would be the benevolent ancestors, the exalted beings that have an affinity to our soul. This could be our ascended masters. This could be our angelic guides as well. Now, there is a little bit of a choice here. There's some discernment. It talks about soul groups. Those we'll see again in a higher, less dense way, meaning what we call the afterlife or the next world, the higher world. And then Justice card, this is Libra energy. It also could just be Saturn, Venus, the moon in the fifth, sixth, or excuse me, sixth, seventh, or eighth house here. Or the sign of, yes, Libra, but it could also be Scorpio or Virgo. And I said Saturn, Venus, or the moon, it's typically Libra energy, so it's the descendant. Okay, it's also the goddess Ma'at. So it talks about alignment, balance, order. It can talk about being slightly ahead of the matrix or being in alignment where the matrix is submissive versus dominant in a person's life. It can talk about karma if something was unfair. And in this reading, we have two of the winged cards. So this is a very blessed circumstance and situation for Scorpio. Normally, Scorpio is expediting karma. So this is a good little part of the cycle for Scorpio. And the 11th house is usually, when the sun is transiting the 11th house, it's a positive time for any sign. Now we have the Eight of Pentacles, Four of Swords, the Page of Cups, and the Tower. Okay, well, the Tower in the Justice card means the truth is being revealed. Something's coming out. The Four of Swords with the High Priestess talks about containment. Something's being contained. And like I said, the high priestess is gracious, exalted influence over the entire cycle. Something's being worked out in the background. There's some kind of energy that's getting anchored into the physical. There's a grind, a hustle, a flow, because something's being worked out or completed. Okay, so now we have the Page of Wands and the Page of Cups. There's the Ten of Swords, Two of Swords, Emperor in this round. Now, the Page of Wands is the golden child, the Page of Cups is the chosen child. So, with the Page of Cups, we're being prepared for some type of spiritual blessing. With the Page of Wands, we're being prepared for some type of spiritual transmission. Usually, with the Wands, it's through the lineage, the bloodline, or the spiritual rank. That's the same with the swords. And then with the cups, it's because of the purity of our heart. We're learning about our authentic self because there's something about us that's authentic, genuine, sincere. With the wands, it's about drive, desires, passions, motivations. Then the Page of Wands with this Imperatore, the Emperor here, that's a Libra rising. It could be Venus in the first or seventh house here as well, or the sign of Aries. And then with this Justice card, we definitely have a Libra rising here. Somebody also may have their moon in Libra with this Two of Wands and the Justice card. So if there's a Libra rising, they would have their moon in the first house and it would be in the sign of Libra. Also, the Jupiter could be there as well with this Four of Swords. I know that something has been put to an end. It could be canceled out or it could finally be over because we have the Six of Pentacles here and the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is canceling something out. With the Justice card, it means something's been sentenced or worked out and the divine cycle is over. And we have the Six of Pentacles, Six of Swords, King of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. So the Six of Pentacles is receiving favor. The Six of Swords is receiving grace. A pair of sixes in a reading means gifts, grace, favor, blessings, anointings, but more in the terms of a grants, support. And a pair of sixes typically means that there's been a win. I feel like we were losing for a while. We had to take an L, or there was a depletion, a destabilization, a decline, maybe even a debilitation. Because this King of Wands typically comes out after there's been something to defend or something to take massive action on. And we don't have any of the lower quality wands. We just have the page, so another court card for the wands. So again, somebody here could be a Libra rising, somebody here could be an Aries sun with the Emperor and the King of Wands, or Capricorn rising. Somebody here could be Capricorn rising has come up a couple times. Now we have the Nine of Pentacles, Three of Swords, Eight of Wands, Hermit, Two of Pentacles, Ten of Wands. Okay, so a few things. King of Wands, Eight of Wands. That's wanting progression, swiftness. Something's been vectored through the universe, probably through the goddess with the World card here. It's the strongest energy for all of these other major arcana. We have a preponderance of twos, a pair of twos, a Two of Swords, and a Two of Pentacles. A pair of twos means partnership. We have a pair of pages. So there could be messages. There also could be some facet of learning or having a calling, a mission. We have a pair of eights here, so that could be spell work. It's not well supported. It also could be manipulation, I'll be honest. It could be time and indulgences or some type of rumination, oscillation, vacillation. So it's time and indulgences here. Could we have the High Priestess and the Moon card in the absence of some other cards? We have a pair of tens. So a pair of tens is about completion. Something's finally over. The ten of swords is an ordeal. The ten of wands is a burden. Something had to be laid down. So there was a karmic cycle because the crown of this reading is the ten of wands. We completed that cycle with the world card here. Something got broken, a hex, a spell, a pair of eights. That might make sense, especially with the three of swords here. There were terms and conditions placed on us. It's on our side with the three of swords. So we have two, three, and four of swords. Those are all Libra energy. So there may be, like I said, Libra rising, but also there could be Saturn in Libra. That's actually positive for the most part. Jupiter in Libra with the four of swords, with the two of swords, that could be Moon in Libra. So there's some discernment, some deliberation. Two of swords with the Justice card. There is some containment, some stasis, the need to recover, to recuperate from a trauma, or to convalescence, meaning there's some resuscitation. There was a shock to the system. There was a prickly expansion, three of swords with the justice card. Something had to go through the timeline, go through the courts, whether they were the justice courts or the celestial courts. Okay. I am hearing the word jurisprudence. It doesn't always mean that something got worked through the courthouse. There's no Queen or King of Swords here. There's no Ace of Swords. So that tells me that there was karma. There was a karmic cycle here with this Ten of Wands Justice card. Something needed to be worked out, figured out, and it's because we're going to be elevated in some way. There will be a spontaneous exaltation. Emperor with the Tower card. Uh, we would have mishandled something if we didn't have to go through a trial and tribulation. So our mess became a message. Our test became a testimony. It would not have been popular. It would not have been pleasant. It was probably precarious as well, most particularly unpleasant, this experience. But it did build muster, it did build character. We did have to puck up and handle up on something, rise up, level up, boss up, G up. With the world card and the emperor, usually that means we had to mature and graduate out of something before we even understood or were given access to something. We might have a little bit of Venus and Virgo here, Venus in the sixth house, with this Hermit and the Nine of Pentacles. There might also be some being prepared. There's a lot of being prepared here with the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Swords, the Page of Wands, the Page of Cups, the World card. That means we were chosen for something and prepared for it. The chosen child is the Page of Cups. So let's go ahead and confirm or clarify what this pair of tens is, because that's culmination completion, a pair of tens, two tens. And the Ten of Wands, specifically karmic cycle. Ten of Swords means ordeal, breakdown after breakthrough. The energy that this two tens, this pair of tens is bringing out is the Knight of Pentacles. That means some kind of delayed arrival or something that was long and tedious, slow moving. What it gave us was some type of maturity. We mastered a practical skill about our willpower, our vibration, our vision. And it took a while. There were some terms and conditions. We had to grow through something, is what this is saying. What is this pair of eights? Yeah, because there was something we had to attend to, and we were not managing well. This pair of sixes is, I think we might have needed to learn how to work or ask for support or whatever. That's what I'm getting here. With the Nine of Swords, that's swift, rapid movement. It's also being initiated into a technical skill, using intellectual reasoning and communication. It also could be seizing or exploiting its rapid movement. Yeah, there was also an environment surrounding location where we shouldn't have been in, because the position of these two wands cards, 5 and 7 of wands, tells me that, you know, the environment surrounding location was repelling. We actually had a high position, a high standing that we were going to lose, risk slipping unless we understood that we were being given something and also distracted by something else. We were being distracted from what we were being given because we were choosing something lesser than what was intended for us. We have this pair of twos. Let's check on that. Okay, so this three of swords is coming out a lot and is already here on the board. So that means delay, disruption, dispersion. The three of swords is being something is suspended because of a timeline, a law, something. It's a higher body suspending. Okay, so 5 of swords, 10 of swords, 10 of wands. Okay, so the 5 of swords is something gets revoked because it got canceled out or there was a breakthrough, something needed to be revealed, and it's because we were in a karmic cycle. So we have to go through a trial for revelation. But the revelation doesn't come in terms of it being spoken out. It comes. Okay, and then we have a 10 of swords with the Lovers card here. That's a Gemini energy, probably a Gemini sun. It's another person. Everything is lying and ready. We went through a transformation. We've been holding on to something, being secretive about something, or just being dutiful to something that's not being shared, discreet, private, secret, whatever, what have you. It will be announced through it being evident. We're going to walk with this energy. After much delay and displeasure or separation. Oh, by the way, we are clarifying any type of corresponding or correlative energy with the Vita Sibilla by Los Scarabeo. Was checking on the 10 of swords with the Lovers card. I want to check on this 2 of swords with the Justice card. Okay. That did that. So it did take us some time to learn. Sometimes the 2 of swords could be learning or discernment. So we were we were coming from the cocoon. We were once a caterpillar, but now we have wings. The torre. Yeah. So we mastered a few things and now we're able to provide assistance in some kind of way, give medicine, give guidance, because something's finally coming back. Something to think about, a way to discern. And it's always been there. That was what was always needed in order for us to be viable or worthy or something of that nature. I don't know if I checked this double two here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It came right out and it's Queen of Cups. So we are authentic, genuine, sincere pair of twos. There was always something tolerant and sensitive. It was necessary that it remained clean. There were ethics and morals around it because there was the risk of fanaticism or tainting of ideas. Perfect practice makes perfect. So until that happened, there needed to be a change in ideology. Okay, 5 of Pentacles. There needed to be a change in ideology or something wouldn't have been able to be built upon. And it's because there was an exalted seat, 6 of Wands. In order for, we needed exaltation, but it was only going to come through a change in ideology. And we might not have been on the right path. This whole time I'm gaining like something about the path was wrong. Either there was too much or not enough of the calling and the mission that was ordained by the divine. The thing about the 6 of Wands, which came out a few times, It's by the divine. We need to be in alignment with what we came here to do, what we came here to be. So maybe that's this Three of Swords here. So clarifying the Three of Swords. We definitely have somebody with the moon in Libra. So clarifying the Three of Swords. Yeah, preciosa. The precious presence. Something here is at the heart of the matter, and we got to it. Yeah, la vecchia signora. So after we went through a cycle of maturity, or after something got to the very end, we would have understood that there's a calling on our life, there is a divine mission. We have God duties and obligations, and God could be any spiritual technology we interface with. However, we access the divine God source creator, Allah Buddha Shekinah Jehovah, unconditional love, universal oneness, higher power, the collective, science, whatever. Um, the last part was a joke, but you hear what I'm saying. Especially with the Six of Swords, it may be rather actual, factual, or systemic, logical, rational, linear, or spiritual technology. And now we got to check this Four of Swords with justice. Yeah, so we needed to contain the situation. There was too much external energy that wasn't in support or alignment of our sacred calling, of our divine mission. And there was a lot of ancestral or spiritual guidance. Conversazione here. The Loveth card tells me that the spirit team was on the scene. Yes. And it would have been a grandmother, a mother, a great grandmother, our foremothers. La vecchia signora here with Conversazione. And militare, there was a very practical, systemic, we need to be strategic. We need to have a strategy, a tactic, some modus operandi. We needed to move with a purpose, and there may have been a need for secrecy, discretion, privacy. So sometimes things are withheld from us, if that's the case. And we read this down. Let's check into this King of Wands with the Emperor, because that could be taking massive action. It could be an Aries sun or midheaven. Yeah, so Lamanti, we were needed to be initiated into something. And that's the thing about the King of Wands. It takes the longest to mature because it's about drive, desires, passions, motivations, protecting what we find valuable, which means we need to have a sense of will and purpose. And also, it might require defending something, taking massive action in a way, shape, form, or another. Yes, but something had to come back. We got a little bit too far down the path in the wrong direction. And with Speranza, something needed to come back. We needed to refine a sensibility or something of that nature. Since we didn't have love come out, we're going to use the Madame and Dora here, so I know how to title this reading. And so far, this tells me that we were a little bit out of alignment with our purpose and our mission here upon the earth. And it's because there was some type of drive, desire, passion, motivation. We were a little obsessive and compulsive, or a little bit too strong willed, and not enough of what we agreed to be, to do before we anchor here in the physical came through. Or we need to be more clear about who we are, what we're about, what we want. Let's closing up this reading. Okay, yeah. So your surroundings will undergo transition. There's about to be a transition. A lot of the uphill battle is over. And we were hindered for a long time, for a series of months or a series of years, because we needed to go through a trial, a tribulation, triumph over adversity here, the ninth. Seagulls or songs of penance, Joni Mitchell. On a promise to be free, mermaids live in colonies. All his sea dreams come to me. So Spirit was communicating rather heavily, and we needed to be dutiful and righteous because the environment surrounding location that we were in was not the right location. You can't take a fish out of the depths of the ocean, put it on a tree, and say you're a bad climber. Yes, that's true. The fish does not climb very well, but it's not its purpose. So a fish is never going to survive or exist or thrive, let's say, on a tree. A fish thrives in the ocean. So we were in the wrong environment. And we needed to be humble enough to be guided and navigated through, and it would have either been positive or negative, the guidance. So if we were fighting an uphill battle, it would have gotten progressively more difficult. If we were leaning into our intuition, if we were had strength, courage, and wisdom, or import self-governance, self-mastery, system structures, foundations, self-governed, self-mastered, self-regulated, self-possessed, then we would have been guided properly. I feel there was something where we were kind of needed to change our ideology. I don't know how I know that anymore. But our surroundings will undergo massive change only because a cycle has ended. There's something's over. There's no longer an uphill battle. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye, Scorpio.